Before you scroll further, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today's story is one you won't want to miss. This is not just another coin video or another ordinary look at something old and forgotten. This is a journey, one that reaches into memory, history, and mystery. And if you're a man in your 50s or 60s who remembers the feel of real money in your hand, the weight of copper nickel on your palm, and the pride that came with holding something that mattered, then this one is especially for you. Imagine this. It's the mid-1970s. The world is changing fast. Music is shifting, politics are boiling, economies are bouncing like a restless heartbeat. South Africa in 1975 was a country in transition, carrying its own storms and stories. And right in the middle of that era, in the middle of all that tension and change, a humble 20-cent coin was minted. Most people spent it on bread, milk, or a newspaper. They never looked twice. They never imagined that decades later, this simple piece of metal could carry a story powerful enough to stop you in your tracks. Now, picture yourself back then. You might have had a full head of hair, maybe a mustache thick enough to comb. You might have been wearing your best leather shoes, strolling through a market, or leaning against the bonnet of a car you were proud of. Do you remember the sound coins made when they rattled in your pocket? That solid, honest clink. Not like today's plastic cards and silent taps. No, back then, money had sound. It had presence. It had weight. And that 20-cent piece was part of everyday life. But today, we're not talking about ordinary life. We're talking about something extraordinary. The 1975 South African 20-cent coin. On the surface, plain and modest. A familiar design. A design you might have seen 1,000 times without giving it a second glance. The image on it has history. A protea, the national flower, strong and resilient, printed onto the metal like a quiet promise. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't made of gold or silver. But sometimes the most valuable things in this world don't shine when they're born. They shine when time breathes on them. What makes this coin so special today isn't just that it survived nearly half a century. It's that it became a witness. A silent witness to every hand it passed through. Men who worked hard. Women who kept households running. Children who collected coins in jars. Teenagers who bought their first drinks or their first packs of cigarettes. This 20-cent coin lived many lives. It traveled. It endured. And it waited. Now think about your own life. How many things have slipped away unnoticed? Tools you once used every day. Keys that opened doors that no longer exist. Photographs tucked away in boxes. And coins. Yes, coins that once meant something but drifted into the background. That's what gives this story strength. Because when an item like this resurfaces with unexpected value, it brings your memories back with it. It makes you pause. It reminds you that time transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary treasures. Collectors today look for more than rarity. They look for survival. They look for condition. They look for a story. They want a piece of history they can hold between their fingers. And a 1975 South African 20-cent coin, especially one preserved against all odds, offers exactly that. It carries the echoes of a country's past, the fingerprints of generations, and the craftsmanship of a mint working during a turbulent era. But let's go deeper. Imagine someone kept one of these coins tucked away. Maybe your father, your uncle, maybe even you. Maybe it sat in the back of a drawer, wrapped in old newspaper. Maybe it was placed in a tin box with a few medals and forgotten trinkets. Maybe the person who kept it had no idea that fate had chosen that particular coin. Maybe they just liked the way it looked, or maybe it reminded them of a moment they didn't want to forget. That's the beauty of objects like this. They don't just gain value with age, they gain meaning. They become time capsules, carrying the life stories of the people who touched them. And today, as the world shifts into digital everything, coins like this become even more precious. They become part of a fading era, an era when you counted change in your hand, when you felt the weight of metal and the worth of every cent, when life was slower, more honest, more tangible to SO if you're watching this now. especially if you're a man who grew up in a time when hard work paid for every meal. When your father taught you the value of saving, when your mother tucked small coins into envelopes for groceries or the month-end bills, you know exactly why this coin speaks to you. Because it isn't just a coin, but it's a reminder. A reminder of who you were. A reminder of the world that shaped you. A reminder of the things you've survived and the wisdom you carry. And now comes the part you've been waiting for. After decades of being treated as just loose change, after passing through hands and pockets, after surviving time, weather, markets, and forgetfulness, this 1975 20-cent coin from South Africa has surfaced in the collector world with a valuation that almost defies belief. A single, pristine example, preserved better than anyone thought possible, has been reported to reach an astonishing worth. A value so surreal that it turns everyday history into treasure. That number, that jaw-dropping figure, is $7.2 million. Yes, $7.2 million for a coin that once bought a loaf of bread. So before you click away, remember this. Sometimes the smallest things from your past carry the biggest surprises. Sometimes the world rewards the patient, the observant, and the nostalgic. And sometimes the coins that slipped through your fingers decades ago come back not as change, but as legends. Imagine holding a slender silver-toned disc that once passed through countless hands, bridging past and present with every glint in the light. That is the story behind the 1971 South African 20-cent coin, a small piece, yet one that carries echoes of history, design, national identity, and the unending allure of rare collectibles. Back in 1971, South Africa was amidst its era of decimal currency, and the 20-cent coin was a familiar everyday piece. Made of nickel, it weighed about 6 grams and measured 24.2 millimeters across, with a smooth, unadorned edge. Munstuck International Coins Plus One. Its surface tells two stories at once. One side bearing the national coat of arms, the other side featuring the King Protea, the striking floral emblem native to the land. Online Coin Club Plus 2 Munstuck International Coins Plus 2 around the coat of arms. The legends SUID Africa and South Africa bracket the date 1971, while the designer's initials TS for Tommy Sassine rest beneath. Online Coin Club Plus 2 Last Dodo Plus 2 on the reverse, tucked beside the petals. The numeric 20 marks its face value, with the same designer's initials. Online Coin Club Plus 1. In its day, the coin was common currency, circulating widely across markets, shops, street vendors, and pocket change. It was minted in large numbers. About 5,893,000 pieces were struck in 1971. Pheronum Plus 2 Last Dodo Plus 2. That kind of mintage ensured many entered general circulation, and over time, many were lost, damaged, or worn beyond recognition. Few survived in pristine condition. What gives a coin like this its power among collectors is not just age or metal, but condition, rarity of pristine examples, and emotional connection. A coin heavily worn loses crispness and detail. The tips of the protea's petals blur, the coat of arms shields and supporters soften, and little marks and scratches mar its shine. But one in nearly mint or uncirculated state can still reflect crisp engraving, sharp edges, and strong visual contrast between relief and field. Even though most examples today are found in grades of fine, very fine, or extra fine, that does not erase their fascination. Collectors study toning, surface luster, strike quality, and how evenly the metal aged. But their modest value in typical grades also makes them accessible to many. In auction records and reference catalogs, values for normal circulated condition often range from a few cents to $1 or $2, far from astronomical. Pheronum Plus 2 1 listing for a collector shop offered a 1971 nickel 20-cent coin for about €6, roughly USD 6 to 7, in solid condition. V-Coins Plus 2. These modest prices reflect how plentiful specimens remain, especially in non-perfect condition. Still, The dream for many collectors is the elusive specimen that seems untouched by time. Full mint luster, no contact marks, flawless strike, perfect surfaces. Such coins are rare in existence, and their scarcity raises hearts. When the right coin surfaces in an auction, whispers stir in numismatic circles. The idea of a seemingly ordinary coin fetching a wildly outsized price captures the imagination. After all, the numismatic world once saw ordinary coins fetch extraordinary sums because of condition, provenance, or error, in creating a script or video around this coin. One must guide the listener's journey. Start with its design, weave in its era and daily use, then lift into the aspirational side of numismatics. The possibility that a simple coin might one day be regarded as priceless. Paint a picture of someone discovering it tucked away in a dusty box or in a small antique shop drawer and realizing what others might have overlooked. Keep listeners engaged. Call attention to the visual details. The fine lines on the protea petals, the graceful curves in the scrollwork of the coat of arms, the way light dances off the nickel surface when tilted just so. Point out how subtle differences in mint quality, toning, or surface condition can dramatically shift a coin's appeal to a collector. You might even suggest your viewers imagine how many hands, pockets, counters, and cash drawers this coin passed through in the 1970s, 80s, and beyond, each leaving behind a whisper of wear.